Hey Dota fans, it's been a quiet week on the Dota battlefield, but off it has been busy. If you noticed on the TI stream and wonder why everyone was wearing a mask, was because Austin, Cap, Walsh, and Jonathan Pimlico Liebig caught COVID-19. So a bunch of talent went into isolating for precautionary reasons and everyone started wearing a mask. Here's Cap recalling his experience on the Side Pole podcast.
Flu, I'm thinking, shit, probably got the flu too. Like, okay, but like, you can power through the flu pretty quickly. The problem is it's contagious, just like COVID. So I was like, okay, I should still be safe. I skip out on that one day and not do it. I took a PCR test on the first day that I felt sick. I'm getting rapid tests every day. Everybody has to. But I individually went and got a PCR test just to make sure, just to be safe. That's doing the rapid test. They also do PCR tests. And I just had to like go out of my way to ask. So I got a rapid test, and then I also got a PCR test at the same time.
Gotcha.
And came back negative. So I was like, okay, but like that's why in my head I was like, okay, probably the flu, just like JJ. They're asking for my PCR tests, and I was like, yeah, I took rapid tests and they're negative, and I took a PCR test and it's negative. And I remember the look that this guy gave me, this fucking look of disbelief, of like, what do you mean it's negative? That's not possible for it to be negative. And I was just like, oh fuck. And so I show him, and he's looking at the certificate like he can't believe what he's reading, and he's like, what the fuck? Yeah, we have to do it over a couple times, but and so it's like 2:30 a.m. at this point in time. That by the time we finish up this whole rigmarole, and so the last thing is we're gonna do a rapid test, and this rapid takes 15 minutes as opposed to like the 60 seconds or whatever that the normal rapid tests take that we do every day. And we sit there, and boop, he's like, it's positive, and he shows it to me like to really prove a point, like I was gonna disagree with him somehow. And I was like, oh, okay, well that fucking sucks.
Now onto the drama between talent and Dota 2 fans. There will always be criticism no matter who you are and what you do. It's just the nature of things. It also depends on how you handle criticism. If they're constructive, you take it, and if they're not, you just ignore it. Well, this week, it finally boiled over for Michelle Moxxi's song, a Dota 2 play-by-play. She wrote a twitlonger about the negative comments directed towards the female talent in this year's The International. She wrote, "There's been a lot of negativity and shit-stirring since the latest female members of the Dota 2 talent has emerged. As a long-time Dota 2 fan, it didn't surprise me. I've been the target of many threads telling me how shit I am, had peers talk shit about me behind my back, and received many horrendous messages about how I should leave the scene and end my life. It's unfortunate how people treated her at the start, and I'm glad she persevered. Her tweet longer details some of the comments directed towards the new talent and that can potentially bring new players are actually hurting the game itself. She herself faces criticism for this post itself. Fnatic's coach, Lee Sunbi-Jeonjae, tweeted and asked, why are people antagonizing the people who are fans of the game that are giving you a job in the esports scene? Pro Dota is an entertainment, and viewers, we owe much to our fans in living our dreams. Again, you don't want to pander to them totally, but what benefit is there in antagonization? It will only turn them off from our beloved game and scene, and it hurts everyone. Stop whining," Sunbi wrote. Moxxi did tweet out an apology saying her intent was to raise awareness. The intent wasn't to paint everyone broadly and lump them together. It was to make people aware of the extreme abuse and ask them to be better. I did this poorly, and I'm sorry. In the latest We Say Things podcast, Shannon, Sunsfan, Scotton, and Trolls Cinderin Nielsen talked about how the Dota 2 community always give praise to a talent member while putting another down. Here's the clip.
And something that I really liked about the positive feedback we got this year, this is something the community, I'll just say it, this is something the community is fucking bad at, is complimenting people without putting others down. And a lot of the time when talent announcements are made, it's like, oh yeah, they got these guys, thank God Y or X or Z isn't there. It's like, can you just be happy for the people that got there without slathering or like putting people down that didn't get invited or chose not to go for whatever reason? Is that the word? Slandering. Sorry.
Yeah. The International is supposed to be a celebration of a year's hard work with the backing of the community to raise the best Dota 2 team in the world. It's a shame how Team Spirit's victory got clouded over by something like this. If they really cared, they would see there were a lot of praises, also criticism, but it sucks that people only saw the bad. Back to the actual Dota 2 news. According to Tiffany Oling Lim, Valve has procured PCs and covered accommodations for the remaining Chinese team in Bucharest. Many of the Chinese teams are still stuck in Romania due to China's strict restriction to enter back. When entering China, they have to quarantine regardless if they're vaccinated or not. According to South China Morning Post, when entering, you are required to undergo a 14-day quarantine period at a designated location, then a 7-day quarantine at home, followed by another 7 days of monitoring. It's a lot to undergo, which explains why many don't want to leave China, but when there's $40 million on the line, you have to take it. The great reshuffle hasn't begun, but teams aren't waiting. Alliance has officially announced the departure of 3 players: Linus Limp Blondin, Artemon FMG Barshak, and the biggest one, Gustav S4 Magnuson. All have left the team. Fnatic also part ways with 2 players. Ning Chuan Ki Chuan and Yang Def Wu are now free agents and are seeking for a new home. SG Esports have parted ways with the entire roster. They said it was a long journey of learning for the team and they reached the International 10, which is a project the players believed in. It was just a week ago when Thunder Predator dropped their roster that went 0-16 at TI-10. This week, they picked up 4 of the 5 players that played for No Pain Esports last season. This roster was a top team in the South American region. Expect nothing less for this upcoming season. Speaking of the upcoming year, Alliance tweeted out a projected timeline for next year's Dota Pro circuit. They suspect the season to start around the end of November, where the first major will be at the second half of February. There will be 3 majors, and the international level will be likely at the end of October. What do you think about the international being an October event that goes up against the likes of League of Legends World Championship? Let me know in the comment section. That's all for this week. Check back next week for more shuffling. Like, share, and subscribe.